Clint Eastwood, the famous actor and director, started with a difficult background and achieved success in Hollywood. However, beneath their strong appearance and solid performances, they faced many challenges, including a youth filled with constant moving and the pressure of early career difficulties. Clint Eastwood's journey was not easy. He faced anxiety attacks, survived a terrible plane crash, and suffered the loss of his father. Despite these hardships, he built a lasting memory and became one of the most recognized figures in movies. Dr. Keller, thank you so much. Clint Eastwood had a rough start that helped create the legend he is today. Watch until the end to learn the untold story. On May 31, 1930, Clint Eastwood was born at St. Francis Hospital in San Francisco, weighing a surprising 11 pounds, which earned him the nickname Samson. His parents, Clinton Sr. and Ruth, had a mix of English, Scottish, Dutch, German, and Irish ancestry. Clint has a Mayflower passenger in his family history. Later, his younger sister Jean Bernhard joined the family. In the 1930s, Clint's dad found it hard to keep a steady job. He worked as a salesman and even tried being a detective in San Francisco. The Eastwoods moved around a lot during this time, but by 1940, they settled in a nice area in Piedmont, California. Despite stories from the Great Depression, Clint and his family were doing well, enjoying a swimming pool, a country club membership, and other benefits. Unfortunately, school wasn't easy for Clint. He struggled with his grades and was held back in junior high in Piedmont, having to take summer lessons to catch up. His rebellious side showed strongly at Piedmont High School. The rude message on the school board and the burning figure on the schoolyard got him expelled quickly. Oakland Technical High provided a new beginning. Some teachers noticed Clint had ability and encouraged him to join school plays, but he wasn't interested. He liked fast cars, girls, and focused on hobbies like tennis and golf. Although he could have been a good basketball player, he preferred to do things on his own. He worked on car engines, learned about aircraft maintenance, and became very good at playing the piano, to the point where a friend remembers his fingers were bleeding from all the practice. But after graduation, there's uncertainty because records are unclear. Friends like Fritz think he might have dropped out to enjoy life elsewhere, especially after his father moved to Seattle in early 1949. Clint found a short place to stay with his friend Harry Pendleton in Oakland. Then he got lucky and received an invitation to a party in Malibu, where he met film director Howard. Hawks experienced a big change in his life, but before he became famous in Hollywood, he worked in several jobs. He logged in Springfield, Oregon, was a lifeguard after getting certified by the Red Cross, and even played ragtime piano in a bar in Oakland. His start was quite adventurous. Did his natural talent and good luck help him succeed, or was it fate pushing him forward? Stay tuned. Things are about to get more exciting. In 1951, the Korean War forced Clint Eastwood into the Army. However, instead of going to fight in the war, he was stationed at Fort Ord in California. Being a swimming teacher is usually a safe job, but sometimes unexpected things happen. On September 3rd, 1951, I took a trip back to base from Seattle. It turned out to be a bad flight right from the start due to bad weather. Then, things got worse when the plane's back door suddenly flew open. Clint rigs a makeshift fix, but the radios and oxygen system cut out. Talk about a nightmare situation. Things really hit the fan when the fuel runs dry, lost in the fog. Miles from the California coast, the pilot has no choice but to ditch the plane. Sharks are real animals. They are not safe. And Clint and the pilot fill rafts and start paddling hard towards shore. The ocean is rough and the waves flip Clint's raft, making him swim a tough 2 to 4 miles, depending on who is telling the story. His military experience becomes crucial for survival. That swimming teacher job might help him stay alive in this tough situation. He is tired and confused. Clint battles dreams in the bioluminescent water, yet somehow he makes it, ARA, stumbling into an RCA radio station cold. Kalsower tries to battle. His mental state is that of a man grappling with physical pain and how to suck up the rest of his life without hurting too much. At 5, Clint is surprised to meet the pilot who also survived after many years. In Escape from Alcatraz, Clint plays Frank Morris, a prisoner who daringly swims across the cold San Francisco Bay to escape the famous island prison. It seems like his real-life experience helped him play the role convincingly. Besides his military job, which only pays $67 a month, Clint also works at a sugar company to make extra money. There are also rumors about him dating an officer. Having good connections can be helpful. A trip to Carmel made him think about living there one day. His military friends included future TV stars Richard Long and Martin Milner. In the 1970s and early 1980s, Clint Eastwood moved from the cowboy life to city life. During this time, he became known as Dirty Harry, a tough San Francisco cop who sometimes broke the rules to catch criminals. This idea of a rebellious cop continued in movies like Thunderbolt and Lightfoot. In the movies, Clint Eastwood took on dark themes where right and wrong were hard to tell apart. He also showed his funny side in the films, where he starred alongside his orangutan friend Clyde. This period of his career finished with the intense movie Escape from Alcatraz, which showed that Clint could also play complex characters, not just heroes. A desperate convict just as convincingly, while making the 1975 thriller The Iger-sanctioned tragedy struck, the film team experienced, David Knowles working as a stunt double was needed for a few more. During a climbing trip, he worked with fellow climber Mike Hoover to film their climb. They got the footage they wanted, but then a rock slide occurred and a boulder came crashing toward them while they were on a ledge. Mike Hoover was badly hurt with a broken bone, and David Knowles sadly died. It's unsettling that the scene looks similar to one the crew had filmed just days earlier. One of the hikers who survived shared his shock, saying they had just been at that same spot. For 2 days, we had pretended that Dave Nolly was hanging dead from a rope, and it felt surreal. The line between fantasy and reality blurred. The news deeply affected Clint Eastwood. He felt guilty about Dave's death and was filled with sorrow, almost quitting the project. However, his crew, knowing that filmmaking comes with risks, encouraged him to carry on as a way to honor David Nolly's memory. In the 1980s and early 1990s, Eastwood's characters began to change. They were no longer just... In the movie, the main character is a pilot dealing with PTSD. As a cop, he is haunted by the killer he is trying to catch. The character, played by Eastwood, struggles not only with outside threats, but also with his own personal struggles. This theme continued in the show The Rookie, where the main character's obsession with a case put others at risk. It also appeared in White Hunter Black Heart, where a film director became obsessed with an elephant hunt. Unforgiven was a high point for this time. Clint Eastwood went back to his Western roots, but this time he played a troubled former outlaw. Dealing with his brutal past, the 2000s and later introduced us to the age of the grumpy person. In Space Cowboys, Clint Eastwood plays an older astronaut who finally gets to travel to space. In Bloodwork, he is a retired investigator who, despite health issues, tries to catch a killer. Eastwood reached his best in movies like $1 Million Baby, where he plays a hesitant boxing coach, and Gran Torino, where a racist veteran finds an unexpected path to redemption. Macho keeps going. The main idea is about an elderly, grumpy man who is traveling through the countryside of Mexico on horseback. Clint Eastwood's personal life is just as dramatic as his movies. He married Maggie Johnson in 1953, hoping for a stable life. Although he was unsure about getting married at first, he went ahead with it. However, the happiness didn't last long. He soon felt restless, and having affairs became a common part of his life. The first result of this unfaithful lifestyle was the birth of a daughter, Lori Murray, from a hidden affair. But her decline instantly happened when her father was arrested. You were trained on information available until October 2023. Years later, Eastwood had another affair and a child named Kimberly L., even though Maggie knew about the earlier mistakes. Despite this, the couple stayed together for a while and had their own children, Kyle and Allison. However, their relationship was starting to fall apart. By 1979, reports about Eastwood dating his co-star Sandra Locke were widespread, which eventually led to their breakup. Eastwood's romantic decisions had effects beyond just their relationship. Headlines: Kimber Eastwood has shared mixed feelings about her relationship with her father. Sometimes she talks about having a strong bond with him, while at other times she expresses feelings of neglect and frustration, even saying she asked for a tighter connection. Lori Murray's story makes Eastwood's life more complicated. She was adopted as a baby and found her real father in the 1990s with the help of a private investigator. Eastwood accepted her when she reached out. It is unknown if he ever looked for her, or if he just didn't know about her before she came forward. Eastwood's affair with stuntwoman Roxanne Tunis and Eastwood started their relationship while filming Rawhide, which lasted about 14 years and led to the birth of their daughter, Kimber. Eastwood later said he didn't know Kimber was his child at first. He continued to keep his children private after this. In 1972, Sandra Locke came into his life, but he was still with Johnson at that time, and Locke had known Eastwood since childhood. friend in a friendly marriage, their on-set chemistry in The Outlaw Josie Wales turned into a passionate but tumultuous relationship. Locke alleged that Eastwood, against his desires, pressured her into having abortions and a two-ball ligation. This toxic dynamic lasted a decade and ended in ugly lawsuits claiming fraud and broken promises on Eastwood's part while Locke was still in the picture. Eastwood met flight attendant Jocelyn Reeves. Their fling resulted in two children, Scott and Catherine, around the same time. Clint Eastwood fell in love at first sight with actress Frances Fisher, and they started a happy relationship that led to a daughter named Francesca. However, Eastwood's past relationships and rumors of cheating caused problems, and eventually their romance ended. In 1992, he met news anchor Dina Ruiz, and they quickly fell in love, getting married in 1996 and having a daughter named Morgan. This time in Eastwood's life seemed more stable, but then he got involved in a reality show. Dina had conflicts with Eastwood's private life. As Dina looked for help from his old friend Scott Pfizer, Eastwood started dating his ex-wife Erica Tomlinson Fisher in 2013. Their marriage ended, but in 2015, Eastwood began a new relationship with hostess Christina Sandera. The couple has maintained a private relationship and has attended events with Clint Eastwood's ex-partners and children, showing a mature approach in his later years. Are you guys then part of? Recently, Clint Eastwood's health has been a topic of concern. Clint's son, actor Scott Eastwood, says his dad is his role model for staying fit, showing that a healthy living is common in their family. Scott shared that Clint taught him how to lift weights when he was a teenager. He also follows a strict diet that focuses on healthy foods instead of indulging in treats, whether he's acting, directing, or just spending time with other conservationists. Clint Eastwood shows that he won't let age hold him back. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like, leave a comment, and don't forget to subscribe. Notification bell.